she did all that talking and made me sound like I'm gonna do something. I didn't wanna do nothing. You know what I'm saying? I am DJ Big Stove. How y'all doing today? All right. How was your new year? All right. Who about making money this year? Who want to use AI to make money this year? Y'all better do it. Hey, you better let me talk to me now. Hold on. We gonna talk. Hey, so what we gonna do today, y'all? We gonna put y'all on the hot seat. You know what I'm saying? We gonna talk about this hot talk. You know what I'm saying? So when we talk about the hot talk, we're gonna be spicy. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
All right. Let's get it going. So, first segment is the role of AI in the workforce evolution. That's what we're about to get into. So, I'm going to start it off with Jessica. You ready?
Yes.
All right, let's go. Jessica, how do you see AI transforming job opportunities over the next 5 years?
All right. I guess I know it's a big question, right? And to make myself feel less nervous about this, I always think that everyone is approaching AI from their point of view, or I guess, not to feel that every single AI expert is going to talk to you from the general point of view. So I'm saying that to say, I'll tell you from the point of view as a person working in the creative industry and working in the digital industry, and from my firsthand experience of working in agency settings and seeing how it's affecting that workforce. What I'm seeing firsthand since ChatGPT came out like 3 years ago is that a lot of people are still scared that it's like trickling into the workplace, but through the end of last year, I see it now becoming a requirement. So, you're gonna see, teams that are focused around AI leadership. You're gonna see a requirement to have a point of view on like how to engage with AI in a safe way when it comes to using sensitive information, because everybody's going to want to take that email and that RFP and upload it to ChatGPT and say, hey, make this answer for me. But I think the most interesting topic that you're going to hear, and I know you're going to talk a lot more hands-on with, is the agentic workflows. So that, imagine you're a lawyer and you see like AI's kind of impacting, for example, the legal space. Like, why do I need to go to a lawyer to read this contract if I could just upload the contract myself? If there's a lawyer in this room, are you a lawyer? Because you made a face. No, okay. That you're probably going to be managing the mirror of your role in AI as like your co-pilot, so that every single person within the workforce will have like a mirror of their role that they're going to be managing to help create a more efficient process. Every company is looking to see how they can cut costs. They're all going to figure out a way to cut costs with AI. But the human in the loop is the most important thing. Like your point of view, your experience. But you need to be superpowered by AI to keep up in this world. And I think like the hot take is, but I always kind of like bite my tongue in, is that like you evolve, like unfortunately. Like you're forced to evolve right now. Like today's world is not yesterday's world. We can't expect to kind of have the same type of patience with technology as we did before. Everybody's kind of got to level up. So I think it's going to become a requirement, and that you're going to see a mirror of yourself in AI that you're managing within the workforce. I think that's going to be interesting, and more AI teams in AI-enabled roles, and a requirement for you to know certain AI tools, just as you were required to know like Microsoft Word or speak English. When you look at certain job applications, you're going to see at the bottom, most likely, OpenAI friendly, AI friendly, understand how to engage with ChatGPT, understand how to use Midjourney, understanding how to use prompting at a basic level. So I think that's going to become more required. Yeah.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
Spot on. Took some of my answer. I think the biggest thing we're about to see is, we've all heard of the term computer literacy. We're about to hear the same thing with AI. So we're going to come to a world where people will be labeled as AI literate, and that won't be a good thing. And so now is the time and stuff and the opportunity, the space and everything to start learning, no matter what capacity and stuff it is, no matter what origin you're in, no matter what role and stuff that you're working in. There's not a lane in any sector workforce where it won't impact. And so what she was mentioning to the agentic space and everything, I can show you exactly how this is going to work and everything.
Oh. We got a whiteboard? We cheated.
Has anybody, have you guys ever heard of like a RAG application?
Yes.
What it stands for? Retrieval augmented generation and everything. Essentially the ability for your AI to pull information that is yours. So this right here is going to be a knowledge base, right? What's going to happen is, on top of that knowledge base, you're going to have areas of focus. This can be customer support, that can be legal, that can be sales, that can be marketing. These also too can be individuals as well. On top of that, what we're going to start to see is agents that's going to be built. You're going to start to have voice agents, emails agents, marketing agents, basically going to partner with you in your employment. We're going to get to a place where every single person is going to live in a world where they're going to have an AI agent partner with them. This infrastructure is what's going to live and going to be built off of. Eventually, every single company will be building on top of their infrastructure and will integrate with every employee inside their workforce, no matter what you do. And so that is additional to what she said, the impact of workforce what we're going to see.
Man, y'all heard it. Y'all heard it. Give it up for him. Give it up for him. Just to touch on AI, because you know what I'm saying, I am not AI literate. You know what I'm saying? I've been on it. I've been getting it together. I even did 3D modeling with AI to make my shoe company. So
Wow.
it can happen. Just like y'all know that. I'll put it out there. All right, Marlon. So I got a question directly for you. You ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go. What industries are at the greatest risk of disruption from AI in 2025?
I would say, I'm going to answer this question this way. It's not an industry, but it's a community. I think black people have the largest opportunity and stuff here. The reason I say that is currently right now in the workforce, it is a skill set based workforce. Do you have the skills to be able to get, this outcome? To get to another level on top of that skill set is creativity. Everything. So let's take software engineering, for example. Software engineering is nothing but focused writing, but the greatest and the best software engineers are creators. They get creative on top of that. We live in a world right now in this area of AI, it's flipped. Creativity is what's going to build skill set. I don't know any other greater, more creative people than people who look like us. If you combine that with the knowledge and what you can do with AI, your creativity will start to solve problems. And from that, they will start to build skill sets on top of that, that people will literally have to go learn and start moving from there. So when you start doing it, now you're starting to change every industry. Everything like we're building AI voice solutions for a large medical practice and stuff right now. We're building everything from scratch. Everything. We all see the OpenAIs, the NVIDIAs, the Perplexities, the Hugging Faces. Like that's the type of iceberg, and that's fine. Everything. But one thing I've noticed is that they're building up here, but not integrating down here. Another opportunity. That means opportunity for startups, opportunity for consultants, opportunity, for individuals. Now you can go grab 5 businesses as a client, and you're going to do some generative AI, for them on their email, on their menu and stuff like that, because the top of the food chain right now is not building for the rest of the world. They're simply building off creativity and what they think the world can do, but they haven't integrated it with the rest of the world. Technology does not move past human adoption. It took PayPal 10 years for human adoption, to get adopted and stuff to the market. And so I think we have the best opportunity that we've ever seen because we're the most creative. We just have to, wrap our minds around what these tools, LLM stuff can do. And then once we understand that, we get creative and everything, and we go start to build, solve, and move from there, and literally lives will change.
In school. So of course they like the AI, you can just go in there and put your questions from your homework and put it in AI. That's one thing, but it's most disruptive because education has to react. Not everybody seemingly has to engage and evolve and start to understand how they should evolve with AI, but education has to react because AI is accessible to everyone. There's no holds bar on, at least here, there's, in America, everyone has access to ChatGPT essentially, which is great. AI has made understanding pretty much anything accessible in your tone, in your language, and however you want to approach it, and how quick you want it, and how complex you want it. That's amazing. But yeah, for kids in school, how is that going to affect the future? And education has to react on how do we accept that AI is inevitable to the world that we live in, that you can't control it. You could put a VPN on somebody's computer and they could go to somebody else's computer and tap in. So without trying to restrict it to a degree that doesn't make sense, how do we make it a part of the school system in a sense that still protects how children learn in a way that doesn't make the society ahead of us dumb. But also, I guess hot takes. It's how do you retain information? I think it's really good to think about how can we innovate with AI in education in a way that shows you're giving students a way to understand whatever the curriculum is in their own. They're the ones directing how they integrate that through their eyes, through their language, which is so powerful. But I recognize that's going to be a curve, a really strong learning curve. So, that makes sense to me. Stream of consciousness.
All right. Now, Marlon, what is your take on these results?
I'm gonna go with healthcare. Because also too, I'm building solutions in healthcare. But I'm gonna go healthcare. I think healthcare has one of the biggest opportunities for disruption, mostly because it's, along with education, it's a dinosaur. So a lot of the information and stuff like that. So for example, one of our clients, they're spending $10,000 a month on printing paper for new patients. So for new patients come in, so we go into the doctor's office, hey, fill out the new patient form. They're spending $10,000 a month, on that process. And so we told them, hey, you can get rid of that. We'll just have an AI voice agent to take the information over the phone before it even comes to the office, and then we'll process the information to your CRM. And so they're like, okay, beautiful, everything. And so along with that, I think we're also going to see an extreme advancement in
hot takes.
All right. We're going to see an extreme advancement in medicine. And I think we're going to see some breakthroughs and stuff there. My concern with that is while there'll be new discoveries, while there'll be operation efficiency in this area, I don't see a world where the price of healthcare coming down. I see things going up. Now kind of learning how behind the scenes stuff work with, billings, HMOs, and things like that. I think these hospitals, doctors, they're looking for a reason and a way to increase. And I think once they figure out, or once somebody figure out for them on the AI side, price is going to skyrocket. And I think that's unfortunate, and it's kind of like, this is kind of what happens in the U.S.
What are you talking specifically about the U.S. or global?
In the U.S. specifically. Anything. I don't know anything else about like international, how the healthcare system works or anything, but the U.S. Specifically. Yeah.
All right. Let's give it up for the panel. We're about to get into the next hot take. The next hot take coming up right now. Next hot take. And we will do questions at the end. Just to let everybody know, the questions at the end. All right, so the next segment is AI and ethical dilemmas. So Jessica, I'm going to start with you. Ready?
Yes.
How can bias in AI systems be minimized?
Well, hello, friend. I would say, okay. You asked a fun question of like, do you know what, does anybody know what GPT stands for? Of course you do. Yeah. Okay. It stands for generative pre-trained transformer, right? So that means it's trained on the internet, like on the entire internet. It's just a download of the internet. You're talking to a synthesized version of the internet. You're doing this like extreme search synthesized into a sentence result, or to like a paragraph, or to a story, whatever you want. With that, is AI biased or is the internet biased? And then if the internet is biased, then the world is biased. So you guys are just looking, I don't want to say you guys, but like, there's, the topic is AI is biased, but what it's trained on is biased. So how do you control that? It's a new level of technology, so then you need leadership who's in charge of it, that is responsible enough to know how to put the right parameters on it, which, if we know anything with where social media has gone, good luck. Sorry, that's a hot take. But it's true, so I know we have probably other conversations around that later today, but having empathetic, in the world of product design, a trending phrase you'll hear is like human-centered design, right? Like empathetic mindsets when you're coming to create products. Like you truly consider every type of user, your main personas who are gonna use this workflow. When it comes to AI, it's every type of persona. So that's gonna take a deep amount of research, a deep amount of empathy, strong teams of extremely diverse mindsets. And I think what's most interesting to me about AI, especially after experiencing something like the pandemic, that was the first time I saw something in my lifetime where I'm like, hot damn, the whole world is affected by this at the same time. Like we all have this like fresh experience at the same time. And then within 2 years, we have AI, and we're all having like a similar experience. So we're at this like worldwide round table of developing the ethics in real time for something that's gonna affect us for a very long amount of time. So with that, you got to give it time. And it's going to be a really interesting next 5 years. This year, I think, is going to be insane because of the updates in, quantum physics. And I don't even understand that to the fullest degree. But from what I do see, it's like when you see what's happening with like the Willow chip and with NVIDIA, and like that the people who are experimenting in this space are about to do something colossal. Now we have Sora out, and all of these different video tools, Google Veo, however you say that. It's what we're seeing in month 1 of this year, barely week 2 in. It's our eyes are we're questioning what's real. So imagine 6 months from now with that technology. I know the question was on bias. I don't know where the hell I just went. But yeah, that's how I feel.
All right, Marlon, I got a question for you straight away. Is race for innovation outspacing ethical oversight, or are the frameworks catching up?
No. It's definitely outpacing. That's how innovation works. In this country, we always build the car before we build the seatbelt. Everything. It just doesn't. We don't operate that way as a country. So we're always building, and then we're thinking about safety and everything on the back end. In this area, I would argue, is probably the right way to do it and stuff right now, because we're still like figuring out what this thing could be. I think trying to integrate regulations right now, especially with the segments of government who don't understand it fully, could be a vital mistake. So California's trying to do that. They're trying to implement new regulations and everything. So a bunch of the big startups, a bunch of the big enterprises is like, yo, this is not the right way to go. So the regulation piece of the thing is very challenging. I mean, if you don't know, the internet just is 5 phases of regulation. They just finished that process in 2022. So they just fully understood how to regulate the internet this 3 years ago. And now you're trying to tell us, like, now you have the understanding and the knowledge to go in here and do this with AI as we're building and learning in this process. Well, I don't believe it. I don't buy it and stuff whatsoever. And so I think the innovation process, it's challenging to accept that we're building this race car and we're not even looking at the seatbelt and stuff right now. I would argue, as we're building this race car, the ones who can figure out how to build the lanes, the tires, the things around it would also be the ones who succeed in this area. The race car is going. There's no stopping this. The NVIDIAs, they're going. Like that's gone and everything. There's no stopping this. The LLMs are out and everything. Now it starts to kind of go to the creative process of like, what can I build in partnership with? What can I build on top of? What can I build adjacent to with and everything to figure out how to get a solution is what we're going to head to.
Something that you were talking about the regulations. So I think when you talk about California specifically, it's saying that now if you are an actor, you're a voice actor or whatnot, the concern being that, all right, so if you have an AI that can actually just replace you, Ted, you come from an entertainment background as well. So now imagine having a radio station where you don't actually have a real person. You just have AI generated voices.
That's happening. It's already there.
Right. So yes, when you talk about the regulation, that is a concern for people actually working certain fields.
Yeah, I'll say this. I'm really excited to hear that none of this is stopping everything, because all your concerns are valid and everything, for sure. Everything. My focus is always is like, take your concerns and still move forward with it, as well. All your concerns are valid. We're also building every single day. We're building every single day and everything. So which means also those concerns that you have, you can go build a nuance or solution everything to it too as well, and have that, work into the field. Like the opportunity for startups right now is tremendous. So like I mentioned earlier, you got these big companies that are building at the top of the iceberg, but they're not integrating down here and everything. Startups are going to be the ones who integrate down here and then build up. And so all your concerns and stuff are valid for sure and everything, but I'm really excited not to hear it be a red light. I saw another hand.
Well, number 3 stops me from using several AI tools.
You said what stops you?
Number 3.
Data privacy.
Because I know that depending on what I'm doing, I cannot use certain tools because of the data privacy.
What's your definition of data privacy?
You need to know how to use the tools and, which one to choose. Not everyone is aware.
Yeah. She mentioned, she said number 3 is her biggest concern of using tools, correct?
Yeah, so you need to know which tool and how to use it and when to use it. Not everyone is aware of that. Like people talk about AI. Well, there are many AI technologies, and within each AI technology, there are many AI tools, and So I think that we need to democratize maybe the foundations.
Yeah, so I agree. Everything. Like when I'm teaching workshops, you'll be surprised. Sometimes I have to tell people not to put in your social, not to put in your address, and everything. And it's like these are things that I already know and things like that. But like these are still things that you have to, kind of communicate and stuff with. Sometimes, particularly in this country, this is not directed at you. We haven't met yet or anything. Particularly in this country, it's challenging for me to hear Americans say data privacy is their concern when we still use ABC123 as our banking password. You know, we're still giving free data just off the back to, you know, social medias, and we're not even thinking about it until a news article or until a lawsuit and stuff happens. Then it's a concern. It's not a concern essentially until it comes home and everything. So my problem is in a technology where you have the same access that Microsoft has in your pocket or on your laptop, and you have the same access, you're using the same tool where you can build a new startup, a new world, a new family structure, everything, and you're hiding behind things like this typically because of some article and stuff like that. And so again, I'm saying it's valid, but I'm saying in the world that we're shifting to, well, in this technology, it's going to impact everything and everyone, and you literally have no say-so about it, everything, but you do have an opportunity to build with it, and everything. Take that and still move forward.
Yeah, but we've known it for decades, already decades. Nothing is free. If it's free, it's because you are
The product. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So with AI, it's the same. If there is an AI tool that is free, why is that tool free? There's a catch. So think about it. So I think that we should educate people on which tools to use and how and when, because that's very important. Because otherwise, you know, like I see people using ChatGPT for everything. They think that ChatGPT is this genius AI that does everything, right? And it's only an LLM, right? People don't know the difference between an LLM and an AI-powered search engine, so they are looking for information using an LLM. How is that possible? We need to educate people on that.
So
I think that's why number 4 is important.
And now we're just about to go into that. What is your hot take on this?
I think what you were saying about, you know, our group being the most enabled group of humans to work well with AI is because critical thinking, creativity, experimentation, scrappiness, being a bit fearless, not waiting for permission is the best way to engage with AI. There's no rules of engagement. But what you were saying, we have to teach people how to engage. We have to teach people to think, like, to question, to really just question. Like, you know, using a lot of these tools is just like, you know, digging deeper, asking, you know, just knowing how to keep going down the rabbit hole. That's what, what's that face?
I pressed the button, sorry.
Oh, okay. I just know how to keep going down the rabbit hole. So for me, when I think about how to teach people how to best engage with AI, I would take it outside of technology and think like, well, how are you critically thinking? Are you aware of how to ask questions? Are you aware of how to dig deeper? Are you aware of how to go past surface level information? Are you aware to how to ask for what the resources are? Are you aware how to question yourself? Are you aware how to write it down? You know, are you aware of like how to get around whatever your blocks are? Because what excites me about AI and what brought me in was because working in a field where there's, you know, I work with people who have creative blocks. Clients come to us because they're blocked on trying to figure something out. They're paying us an unnecessary amount of money to figure out something that they could probably figure out on themselves, but they have with this team, but they need to be unblocked. That's what got me excited about AI. I was like, well, let me take this prowess that we understand, these processes that we understand, this approach that we're used to as creatives, as a digital agency, and like stick that into, you know, AI and see how we could take out the pain and get to things quicker and kind of have this like extremely interesting perspective. So yeah, it's best engaged with like critically thinking. So I think, yeah, that's why it's not there anymore, but the loss of creativity having AI in the hands of a generation who hasn't already had the experience of being bored, of going through Encyclopedia Britannica, of going through different resources to understand how to research something, to think outside of just going to Google first and like truly getting into the world and, you know, building their own perspective. That's what I think is at risk, but we can't control that.
So, and then, hold on those questions, one second.
What did I say?
That actually leads us into our last segment here. It's actually what your next question is. So the next segment is the democratization of AI tools. So I'm gonna start with you, Jessica. Just to segue off of what you just said, what can people concerned with AI development do every day to better adapt and prepare themselves?
When you say, just like how can people become more hands-on with AI who are maybe scared about it?
And then get them away from their fears.
Yeah. Use it. Sorry, that's hot takes.
Yeah.
It's funny because I say hot take a lot before I say anything. So when this was happening, I was like, oh, I'm ready. Most of these apps take a commercial break to understand. I learned a lot about a lot of these apps and processes by going on TikTok. Just finding some 30-second video of someone using it, going through a step-by-step, and then me going experimenting with it. So it's really just getting out of your way. I run a talk series called Creative Currents, and it's on AI for creatives. And one of the most interesting things to me is when someone's like, well, how do I start? Like, what am I supposed to say first? And I'm like, what you mean? What you're supposed to say? Right, whatever the hell you want. Nobody's over your shoulder saying like, press A, do 1, 2, 3, say this first. And just get out of your own way and recognize like experimentation leads innovation. Maybe you're not trying to create like the next best. Actually, I don't really know like how many people in this room run a startup. Okay, how many people in this room have a small business? Okay, a lot of entrepreneurs. All right, so everybody here I'm pretty sure you're already like pretty hands-on with these tools. But yeah, experimentation, get out of your own way, recognize it's so easy to learn, block off the time. My role is a producer, so I recognize the power of time blocking. Let me just put 30 minutes on my calendar to like, just play around with this simple use case and stick it through. That there's like a terminology for using AI, and it's like I was like, I have to like, act it out, but like the 3-hoop process. So like the first hoop of you engaging with AI, you're gonna get a pretty good response. Don't stop there. The second hoop, a little bit closer, you're kind of like shooting from, I'm not like an athlete, but you're shooting from, you can see the hoop, you're a little bit closer, and then, was it?
Mid-range.
Mid-range, there you go. And then third, you probably practice a bit more, you have a little bit more skills, that you understand how to play the game, and that's how AI is giving you a better answer. So, what I'm always thinking through like first lens ChatGPT, but yeah, you're never gonna get the best and the most exciting and the most like valuable response from your first try. So lean into experimentation and remove the idea that this takes a lot to understand. It doesn't. It really doesn't. And I would almost say like, building on the critical thinking, like having that writer mindset, having that creative mindset, I think that mindset is probably the most powerful behind these tools. Because it's really just about your ability to write and dig through the nuances and get past that surface level of like, how can I make this email better? How can I make this email better in a tone for the type of audience for this client who's based in Argentina, who only has 10 minutes to read this email, and they want to get this goal, and they're working on this, and we need to do this, and this is our goal. And this is the year that we work in, and this is the lens, like digging deeper, adding on those layers. So that's another mind dump. Anyway,
extremely influential because when it comes to AI, you literally just have to give it the details. You have to dive
context.
Deeper. Right, you have to dive deeper. Don't just say, hey, tell me this and stop there. Tell me this, what's the color, what's the feeling, what's the emotion. Like go really deep into it for AI to really show you what's up. So Marlon, here we go. Question for you. and this was about businesses, anyone here that has small business. How accessible are AI tools to small businesses and underrepresented communities?
It's accessible to everybody. It's the bloodline of opportunity through that is education. And, you know, some of us, we're at a point now where most of the world, you know, well, most of the US has heard of ChatGPT at least. You know, now they announced they have 300 million users weekly. And so most of the US have heard of like ChatGPT. The opportunity or what you can do with that, I find that getting lower and lower and lower. I still see people on the surface, like, you know, even using basic prompts and people not understanding how to use advanced prompts, and also too understanding that like you can do things like webhooks and Zapier and make.com and stuff like with these tools as well, which is like automations and stuff with that. So, you know, we mentioned at the top of the segment here, like our agency, we build voice solutions for businesses, the ability to have a full AI call center and AI receptionists, book calls, 30 languages, update, counsel, give information about the business, you know, multiple different things. And Zakiya, we're going to announce later, I can teach you how to do that at a basic level in an hour.
You use Whisper?
No, not anymore. Really, real-time API. So I can teach you how to do that, or Blend. I can teach you how to do that in an hour for your business. So you can have an AI receptionist. Everything for your business. So literally, when somebody is calling your business and they need to book an appointment to get a haircut, salon, you know, calendar invite, whatever it may be, literally to now have a 24/7, by the way, you know, AI receptionist for you, it's been able to do for like a year and a half. Now, question: how many of you knew that? 10 hands. Accessible. So we all know what we can do, at least the basic level of ChatGPT. It's the advanced things, you know, and saying we need to like start like learning and teaching and things like that. Because like, for example, I haven't wrote an email in like 4 years. Like we mentioned at the top of the I built the first AI grant writer on top of GPT-3. And that's when I was like, oh yeah, this works. It's wow. And then we started building from there. And then from there, I haven't wrote an email. Like the whole process has been automated. Like I still like get a little manual aspects and stuff like that, you know, on there. But voice, email, written, everything. Now for 2025, what you're about to start seeing too, modality, vision. Now the ability to have a camera in your office for somebody who's walking in, and the AI camera is checking who's coming in, doing a facial recognition scanning, and sending you a text, Dexter just arrived.
No, seriously. I've seen that.
Hey, also too, the UPS driver just dropped off the package. I mean, like, that stuff is easy now. But it's the process of like, just like knowing how to do these things and things. So I'll give you a few tools. Make.com, just simply the word make. Make.com is going to be one of the new frameworks of, we'll call it building. Zapier, most of us have heard of that. And then there's another platform called the letter N, the number 8, and the letter N.com. Like these are automation tools where going back to creativity, the more creative you can get, you can build anything.
But you were talking about the camera that didn't, you know, that might have marginalized someone because of the color of their skin. Let's write policies, but who's building the products? Who's writing the process who's investing in the user testing? User testing is typically a very expensive process sometimes, maybe because people are not being scrappy enough. We're investing in products. It's a hard process. And anybody work here and work in agency settings or work with user testing, product design? How often, like what's the percentage of the amount of projects that you're on?